G'day everyone, welcome to the Raw Football Weekly. We're going to jump straight into some A-League action because we're a bit short for time this week. So, Friday night, Alex, Newcastle won, Gold Coast won.
Yeah, this is a disappointing home draw for Newcastle. I sort of had this down as a home banker, and it's a big opportunity for Newcastle to sort of really make a solid push for their finals bid, and it didn't really happen. Bowles with the early goal.
Finish.
Was a good finish actually.
Should have probably scored about 10 minutes after that when he went for the chip over the keeper and missed over the crossbar.
Yeah, Newcastle looked tired. I thought they looked very tired, and they looked a bit out of ideas in the first half. Gold Coast, who have nothing really to play for at the moment, have sort of past few weeks have actually been playing some good stuff, I thought.
Speaking of no ideas, the big talking point for this game, referee Ryan Shepherd, if anyone didn't see it, decided to not play advantage for a free kick on the edge of the area, which would have then resulted in another foul in the box with Buin pulling down Bowles. But instead, Gold Coast had to be content with the free kick rather than the penalty and didn't score from it. It ended up costing them the ultimate price. Alex, your thoughts on that?
Baffling.
I was wondering what his thought process was.
I don't really know, because it's not as if he blew his whistle.
No, the whistle
before the incident.
If you didn't see it, go on YouTube it. But the whistle did not go until after Bowles was pulled down in the area.
He definitely waited. I don't know whether the assistant had anything to do with it, but it was really odd. And I think it was because the ref didn't make an immediate call, which would have been understandable otherwise. But he waited. He saw what happened. And brought it back, and it really was very costly.
Well, I mean, the Gold Coast had a swath of chances and couldn't put more than just the one away in it. And in the 90th minute, Nikolai Topor-Stanley finishing it off. Classy move, running over to the 6 Gold Coast fans in the crowd to celebrate, as though they hadn't been through enough. What a stand-up guy!
Just top bloke, Nikolai. But he's our man of the week.
Absolutely. Actually,
I was poor marking off the set piece, though. I thought
it wasn't fantastic.
It was free header inside the 6-yard box. It's like 90th minute. You don't really want that, do you?
So one team on the cusp of top 6 place failed to get the 3 points. The next game, similar sort of story. Melbourne Heart at home had a lead though, and they were the ones that threw it away later.
Well, it's sort of the story of the weekend. I thought just the weekend of missed opportunities for a whole bunch of teams. It was a really entertaining game. I thought this one really end-to-end stuff. Heart sort of dominated the first half and the majority of the second half. Wellington sort of sitting very deep. I thought Wellington's performance, it was actually kind of similar to their away performance at Sydney. The key difference being that they got the early goal to sit back on. This time they were sitting deep the majority of the game, but they didn't offer a whole lot going forward. But Balge with the goal in the 32 minutes of the set piece again.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing him in the Turkish League or the German Second Division in about 6 months.
He's going to believe his own player. He is a good player. He's got a great vertical leap as well.
But the man who might be the best player in the A-League, or at least was at some point, Paul Eiffel, getting the equaliser later on.
What a goal. Probably my goal of the weekend anyway, just that nearly broke the back of the net, that one.
Well.
It was... I wouldn't say it's a deserved draw for Wellington. I've got to say, I thought they played very defensively the whole game, but credit to them. It's what they've sort of built their whole season on is sort of getting these sort of jammy away points and victories, and it's why they're as high as they are. Yeah,
well, I for one was incredibly happy with the 1-1 draw on my way to Allianz Stadium to watch Sydney FC take down their arch rivals, the Melbourne Victory, in the Big Blue, 1-0. Alex, in all honesty, it could have been 10.
I think 1-0 flattered Melbourne Victory.
Absolutely.
It was probably Sydney's best performance of the season. They just from the kick-off, they were just completely dominant. I don't really know what else to say from that.
Well, I saw it firsthand. Chianese looks to be a great find. He can work on the finishing because he's not got that down pat just yet.
He miskicked a couple.
But the movement, the ability to beat a man, the pace, they're the things that he can't learn, and they're the things that he's doing very, very well right now.
He's developed this sort of talents to dropping behind the defence and just working that whole just in between the midfield and defence, and it's very effective, especially with Kazarang, who sort of likes to sit in the line and win headers.
And with every week that goes by, the two fullbacks, Ryan Grant and Scott Jamieson, are getting better and better.
Yeah, Grant especially is looking a lot more confident at right back. He was jammy, to say the least, when he started out there earlier in the season, but he is getting better, to his credit. Yeah.
And two guys that I've criticised a fair bit myself this year, Michael Beecham and Terry McFlynn. Not much bad to say about either of them today, because...
No, McFlynn especially he played a blinder. I've got to say, we give him...
Seems to fire up against Melbourne every time.
He loves the big blue. But yeah, Kizzle's penalty, it's one of those penalty decisions which don't get picked up on that often, but it was a blatant penalty.
It's one of those ones where every day of the week it's a free kick outside the box, but you see those waved away 5 to 10 times in every game, every week, and it just so happens that Ben Williams decided this was the time to give a penalty.
Yeah, it wasn't the one which the ref had to look for or anything. I mean, everyone could see that Rizardo was practically hugging him. And, it was a blatant penalty. There's not much more that can be said.
Well, you see that as a foul anywhere else on the pitch, but it's one of those ones where you see it in the box and usually it gets let go. You see it 5 times a game, every single game of football you ever watch, and just Ben Williams decided this was the time to make a stand and give a penalty, and I guess it worked out pretty luckily for Sydney in the end, because they missed a lot of chances.
A lot of chances, yeah. An interesting thing we should talk about, Robbie, you were at the game, so you weren't listening to the commentary, but Robbie Slater was very critical of Melbourne Victory in this game, and I think justifiably so. Their midfield has looked lacklustre all season, and Cernak and Rojas on the wing, there just doesn't seem to be much creativity coming from there at all.
It seems to me that you've got Rojas, Cernak, Kuehl, three most skillful players, all wide players. Hernandez, not a particularly big guy. Thompson, not a particularly big guy. That's the fulcrum of your team right there, and they're insisting on playing this Route 1 long ball style of game when they're much more suited to be playing it out wide.
Absolutely, and maybe it's a case of the coach doesn't think they've got the capability to play that sort of football through the midfield, so they have to try and bypass the midfield to get to those more creative types.
And it just doesn't work when you have the smallest forward line in the league.
Yes, it hasn't been working all season, has it?
There weren't many positives for the victory in this game. I thought Mark Milligan played very well, a couple of goal line clearances, and apart from that, he made a few very key challenges.
He's been good since he's come back to the A-League. He hasn't obviously been able to make that much of a difference, but he has been solid, and he's always been impressive though. I thought Mark Milligan, he's always had like a talent.
I think the problem with Cernak, going back to what we talked about with the wide players, is he was very much a big fish in a small pond last year, playing up in Townsville, I think, and he's very much come back to earth this year.
What's that? Darren Dahl.
Well, I would assume he's back in the Netherlands Antilles, scoring for fun.
Just leading their charge back into the FIFA realm.
Well, I would argue that the golden age of Netherlands Antilles football was under Pimba Bake with Darren Dahl up front.
It was a golden era in Netherlands Antilles football.
Yeah. I don't know if we've got much more that we can talk about Darren Dahl.
I think we should make a conscious effort to sneak Darren Dahl conversation to every one of our podcasts.
Yeah. And that's your challenge as well, Roarers. See if you can work Darren Dahl into the next A-League conversation you have with one of your football-loving friends, and just watch the sheer confusion on their face, if they even know who Darren Dahl is, which they probably don't.
He's a great man.
And speaking of Roarers, yes. It's our best segue yet. We're all about tacky segues. Expect to see a lot of that in the future.
That'll be what our Raw podcast is all about.
And as I said, speaking of the Raw, they took on Adelaide and drew 1-1 at home.
Mischance.
Very much 2 points dropped. Again, going back to this weekend of missed opportunities for teams, this was one here.
Well, Brisbane dominated this game. They really did. It's just like, in the middle of the season, there was a lot of this kind of dominating games, but not able to convert chances.
Style over substance.
Yep, exactly. And they looked like they beat that rap the past few weeks, but it was a return to the old ways of this season, I guess.
Your former Kalara High School classmate, Bruce Gite, with a great assist for the for the Ian Ramsey goal,
Yeah, it's his dad, Professor GT,
as he is known.
very, very, very skillful footballer. He's like, he apparently has lost a bit of his pace.
Well,
to centre back Chris Saxon, my father.
Carving up the Northern Shore over 35s league with your dad.
Yeah, third division.
Well, they can only go up.
Yeah, well, they had a losing season last year. So.
Back to the game. Well, Berisha, another goal. He's inching closer to that golden. Oh, isn't he just with that little scuffle in the back of the net with Bogart after the.
Just trying to fulfil his goal of causing controversy in every single A-League game.
It was a good finish. Great assist from Kobe Downing, who's pretty much been a forgotten man since his first few rookie games at Sydney. Hasn't really kicked on.
No, definitely. He's finding it hard to make an impact at Brisbane, I guess, such as the quality of their squad, especially Broich on the left, which is probably his preferred position out there.
Speaking of Broich, he missed a couple of chances, very much unlike him.
Unlike Broich, yeah. He's
not Broich-like.
Not Broich-like.
The ultimate insult.
It was... they were really easy chances as well, and it was about 3 or 4 of them, and a few goal line clearances as well. And as we said, it was just Brisbane just were not taking their chances. And I think we should talk about Adelaide's goal as well, which is an absolute cracker counter attack.
Well, we focused more on the assist, but the finish itself was class from Ramsey.
It was, and the sort of short pass inside their half was also really, really great to watch.
Yeah.
It's a shame we haven't seen more of that from Adelaide this season.
Well. Hopefully we get to see it in the Asian Champions League.
After their big spectacular away win.
David Carney unable to prevent a defeat in Tashkent.
It was an upset. What more can we say? It was in freezing temperatures. I don't think many expected Adelaide to come away with the points there, but credit to them.
Well, we'll come back to the Asian Champions League.
Yeah, I think we will.
But I mean, Brisbane dropping 2 points here, but the Mariners not being able to capitalise, dropping all 3 on the road against the Glory.
Again, the weekend of missed opportunities.
Although I think it would be a bit unfair to say that this was a game missed opportunities. If anything, they could have lost by more. This was one of Perth's best performances of the year.
Yeah. Matt Ryan, the ever reliable Matt Ryan, is
a rare mistake. And as much as I like to poke fun at Mariners and Victory players when they screw up, I don't feel right doing this. He's been classy all year.
He's been one of the most, if not the most consistent keeper in the A-League for a couple of seasons.
I can't see him sticking around for very much longer. There was a few links to Europe during the transfer window. And
he's got a lot of talent. Central Coast have been worrying signs of form actually from Central Coast.
They were very lucky to get a point against Sydney last week. They didn't get anything from this game against Perth. But before we move on to the game, the big thing for me out of this was the heat.
Yeah.
It's getting on data. A great article by one of the users on the Raw earlier today where they pretty much said exactly what I'm going to say, which is that it's dangerous to be playing football games in 40 degrees with a spate of heart injuries we've seen in professional football in the last few years. I mean, there's no excuse to have the game at 3 o'clock Perth time or whatever it is. There's no harm pushing it back to a 6 o'clock kickoff. Yes, it's going to inconvenience some East Coast viewers, but not to the extent that it's worth putting player safety at risk.
And also, it's also harms the quality of the football as well, I think.
And the crowd was nowhere near as good as it could have been. It was almost Gold Coast-like.
Yeah, and I think this hot weather also affects the quality of the football as well. It's not good to watch, and
well, I'm sure Matt Ryan will claim that the sun was in his eyes.
Yeah, it's the ready-made excuse right there.
I'm not gonna throw too much heat on him because he's been the best goalkeeper in the A-League by a mile for the last season and a half.
Yeah, he's definitely been the most consistent, and I think one of the key aspects of Ryan's game is the lack of these sort of blatant errors, which is we don't want to rag him too much for that.
I don't think he's long for the domestic league, unfortunately.
Yeah, the kid's got talent.
Absolutely. So that was a pretty uneventful game, I'd say. The Mariners never really got into it. There was one shot from McBreen that was cleared off the line.
Yep.
There was a lot of goal line clearances this weekend.
Great game for goal line clearance.
Goal line clearance.
Great
man of the match performance.
Man of the match weekend for goal line clearance. So I guess to summarise this A-League weekend, not much has really changed as far as the table.
Sydney were the only team that really made a lot of strides, and I guess Perth have pulled level with Wellington, and their goal difference is exactly the same.
Yeah.
So
I guess it's safe to say that maybe Sydney are the biggest winners and Newcastle perhaps are the biggest losers with their dropped points.
well, this last 2 rounds is going to be fantastic with Sydney taking on Newcastle and Melbourne Heart in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
So there's a few big games coming up.
Yeah, the finals race very well could be decided by those fixtures. And just looking at the table now, the league seems to be split up into sort of mini battles.
Yeah.
You've got
The battle for first and second.
Yep.
The Mariners of Brisbane. Perth and Wellington fighting it out for third.
Yep.
Although there's not
I
really
guess
any difference at all between.
I guess a home final, I guess, is what they're fighting for there.
Yeah.
And
then you got Sydney, Newcastle, Melbourne fighting it out for the last 2 places.
Yeah. And
I think Adelaide and Victory have done enough to avoid the spoon. Unless the Gold Coast get some sort of miracle.
Yeah, I think.
Which I don't see happening.
Yes, but we've talked about this, it's been very disappointing.
Without harping on too much.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very sad end to a franchise that was pretty doomed. Right?
Yeah, it's I guess it's just disappointing the way that they didn't pick themselves up. We expected them to. It's been talked about in the media so much. I feel like we might be repeating ourselves a bit here, but it's just been the whole saga has just been so disappointing.
It'll be interesting to see both Perth and Wellington travelling to teams that don't have anything to play for.
Yep.
Wellington visiting Victory on Friday and Perth heading to the Gold Coast on Sunday afternoon.
Yep.
I guess apart from pride, there's not much that Victory or Gold Coast will have going for them in this game. So you could definitely see a couple of away wins there.
Yeah, I don't for a second think Wellington are going to have an easy time away at Victory though.
And I hope that the Gold Coast crowd come out.
Definitely. I really hope they see them out well. They haven't. The crowds haven't been coming in for the Gold Coast tenure in the A League. So let's hope they at least see them out with a bit of positivity. I guess.
Yep. Central Coast should have a home banker, but Adelaide will be keen to throw a spanner in those works.
Definitely. And Central Coast has been off form at the wrong time of the season, it can be said. So it'll be interesting to see if they can do
a rare simultaneous kickoff in the A League with both. And only an hour away from each other. Both Newcastle and Central Coast kicking off home games at 5:30 on Saturday afternoon.
I honestly don't know what's with that. I was looking at the fixture list and I think it's the first time it's happened all season that I can remember anyway. Yeah. So
And then the big game, which I'll be live vlogging for the Raw at 7:45 on Saturday night, is the Melbourne Heart hosting Sydney FC, and that game is absolutely massive.
That's probably the game of the round, I think it's safe to say. Melbourne Heart looking good. They looked good against Wellington last weekend, as Sydney did against Melbourne Victory, so that should be a cracker.
Yep. So we'll move on to a bit of Premier League now.
Yep.
And a very familiar side, Manchester United, top of the league.
They're back, as I think deep down we all knew they would be.
They just never give up.
They just don't die. An expected home win against an
Although Paul Scholes or Rankings might die on
they
at some point.
they might die before Man United win the title this season. So an expected home win against West Brom, an informed West Brom, I guess it must be said. A ridiculous amount of goals in the last 3 games.
Hodgson for England.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Spurs' poor form
continues.
Coincides with Redknapp's call for England, so maybe a Hodgson.
A poisoned challenge, as some would say.
That's new. And Man City with a massive slip up away against Swansea.
They never really got into this game.
Yeah.
Swansea missed a penalty.
Yep.
Had a very well taken goal by Football Manager legend Luke Moore.
Great signings to be had there. And
they've been playing great under Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah, not the first time Swansea have upset a big team at home this season. I think they look like the most organised tactically team of the promoted sides this season.
Absolutely. Norwich not far behind.
Norwich have been fantastic as well.
QPR to be the highest finishing promoted team prediction is not.
Was that your prediction?
That was my banker for the year. Jeez.
We have our fun. But actually, speaking of QPR, they haven't got going at all under Hughes this season. Although, since he's come in anyway.
They have to be the unluckiest team in the Premier League. And again, goal line technology, the argument rears its ugly head. It's not a Clint Hill header that was a good metre over the line before it was clawed away by Adam Bogdan, would you say?
I think clawed is probably a good way to put it.
The linesman saying he didn't see it. I'm not sure what he was watching because...
I guess you said it was an argument. It's not that it can't be an argument anymore.
It's simple physics.
Yeah.
If a goalkeeper has to reach around his body to knock the ball away, the ball comes off his hand, hits the crossbar, it's pretty clear that the ball was probably over the line if he's hit it in front of where his hand was and it's only hit the crossbar.
Yeah. It's not even an argument anymore that goal line technology is needed. FIFA again.
And Blackburn, a clean sheet.
Blackburn,
and they are man of the week.
Oh yeah. Due to Matthew's extensive collection of football cards, we have managed to procure a Hoylett card for you all.
And we will be doing this every week.
Yeah.
I think I had every player in the Premier League, so...
Yeah, yes.
Be fine.
A lot of cards there, man.
Well, if Tony Yeboah wants to make a comeback, I will be ready.
Matt Bungard is your man.
You are not wrong. So, if we look ahead to the table...
Yeah. So I think it's very much a two-horse title race.
Well, Tottenham.
Let's talk about Spurs.
Must we? Do you really want to go through this again?
How about you talk for a while, and I'll just.
Their third straight loss. This one probably as unlucky as the Manchester United loss last week, although not as unflattering on the scoreline. Just the 1-0. Nikola Jelic,
yep,
the £8 million man.
Yep, his first goal in an Everton shirt. So Everton, it was a very even first half. I thought Everton's it was midfield battle, I guess. Pretty scrappy game. Yunus Kabul has been fantastic for Spurs all season with a big defensive mistake that ended up costing Spurs the game. Second half, I think it's safe to say was all Spurs. Just a lot of missed chances. Defoe early on in the second half missing one, and then Modric soon after that. So Spurs suddenly dragged back into this fourth place dogfight instead of outsiders for the title.
Yeah. Arsenal playing Newcastle tomorrow morning,
yep.
Which will have happened by the time this airs, but we're recording this on a Monday night.
Yep.
So it hasn't happened yet.
So
we'll see what happens there.
Yep.
Chelsea with a 1-0 win, not much to talk about. Should mention, Didier Drogba gets his 100th league goal. Great effort, joins the 100 club.
Great man. Sunderland with a good 1-0 victory over Liverpool, who are well behind the pace now.
Do you know Dion Dublin is in the 100 club?
No.
He is. Seriously. Look it up. The one people never get when you have to know every player that has scored 100 goals.
Yeah, you probably would have been one player we would have got. So.
Exactly.
Dion Dublin. Good on you, buddy.
And then we have a Merseyside derby to look forward to on Thursday morning our time?
Wednesday morning our time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That one will be at Anfield.
Yep, should be.
Liverpool coming off a surprising loss to Sunderland.
I'm not sure if it is anymore, to be honest. And it's I guess a mark of the fall of Liverpool that is not that surprising.
Suarez to PSG talks are getting stronger by the day.
Yeah.
That would be disastrous. And I'm not the biggest Liverpool fan in the world, but after the way that club has stood by him through this entire Evra saga, if he were to turn around and leave now, that would just further confirm everyone's opinion that he is the worst person in the world.
It's hard to know whether the Liverpool owners have got something to do with this. They had some problems a few weeks ago with the whole Evra racial saga, and their sponsors. It got to a point where the sponsors even had to step in.
If Sepp Blatter wanted to if the next time there's a election for FIFA presidency, all he has to do is make Luis Suarez the other candidate, and he might keep his job because he's the only man in football that is more universally hated than Blatter himself.
Yeah.
It is, man.
Oh, that's what you bring.
Very much.
Suarez is not a nice man. We know this. Yep.
Insight by Matt Bungard.
Norwich home draw against Wigan. I'd say that's a good point for Wigan.
Well, they're all good points when
Wigan. You're not wrong.
Although there's not many good points when you're watching them. I'm funny. Yeah.
Wow.
FA Cup quarterfinals this weekend. Everton, Sunderland, Spurs hosting Bolton, and on Sunday Chelsea hosting the last non-Premiership club left, Leicester City.
Yeah, I gotta say I can't see Leicester winning that game, but it should be a good one.
It's all about Kasper Schmeichel between the sticks.
It will be the Kasper Schmeichel show. I'm pretty sure it will be.
Absolutely. And Liverpool and Stoke round the games out on Sunday night, Monday morning our time.
Yep. That just about sums it up, I think. I think if we're going to take anything from this weekend, it's that for the A-League, we haven't learned much new, I don't think. Melbourne continue to disappoint. Sydney's late season charge continues.
Well, we've learnt that Sydney FC are more popular than the Sydney Roosters by about 6,000 people.
Yeah.
Someone's going to get flamed by the rugby league.
Well, yeah, no, let's not even go there.
Before we head off, we'll quickly talk about the Champions League, both Asian and European. Brisbane, a very surprisingly lackluster performance against FC Tokyo.
It's becoming a bit of a pattern with these Australian Champions League performances.
Apart from Adelaide,
yep.
Keep going, boys.
Our boys.
The way.
But, yeah.
Well, they're all our boys.
They're all our boys in the Asian Champions League, that's right.
And the Mariners, 0 draw in China against Tianjin Teda.
Sub-zero temperatures, apparently. Difficult away trip, so I think they'll take that point.
They'll take that point, and hopefully we don't get as much grass rolling from Tianjin Teda when they visit Gosford as they did last time they played the Mariners at that stadium in a dead rubber and spent roughly 40 minutes of game time calling for stretches and feigning injuries.
Great. Good times.
Onto the European side of things, Arsenal almost completed the impossible comeback.
Yep.
Winning 3-0 at home after losing the first leg 4-0.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say we saw this coming in that we knew there would be an Arsenal onslaught. In the end, their terrible away performances proved too much to overcome. So
there was a couple more there.
Yeah.
Could have very well been one of, if not the best European comebacks since that Liverpool game in 2005.
Yeah, this Arsenal after their Spurs result just seemed to be full of confidence.
Not a whole lot of surprises. Leo Messi, another 5, just 5 goals.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Brush that aside. He doesn't care.
Yeah. Leverkusen were just completely shell-shocked. Good for them to get a goal in the end, I guess. And the big story, I suppose, Apoel Nicosia, the first ever Cypriot team into the last 8.
Well, haven't they come from nowhere?
It's been a great run, and you know what? Their captain was pretty honest when he was interviewed and said, as long as we don't get Barcelona in the next round, we think we can beat anybody else.
Yeah, it's a nice change from those people who say they don't want Barcelona and end up getting beaten by about 7 or 8 goals.
Well, it's just refreshing honesty, because if Barcelona have the same level of ability that they had against Bayer Leverkusen, it could be very, very bad for the Cypriots.
They are a team playing.
We need to wrap this up. If you guys have any emails, we'll read them out next week. Feel free to shoot us an email on that email address, and feel free to shoot me a tweet or leave some comments underneath the video. I've been Matt, this is Alex, and thank you for watching the Raw Football Weekly.